right, this is the Committee on Ways and Means. This is Thursday, June 23rd, 2016. We're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor Delasola.
Here.
I have Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
And I have Councilor Hamlin. Three members present, we do have quorum. And we have Councilor Matusky.
Stand and salute the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the only item, this is an ordinance offered by Councilor Hamlin, that the mayor's longevity pay be $10,000.
Mr. Chairman, on the item. I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. McLaughlin.
I'm going to amend the floor to my colleague. I apologize.
Councilor Hamlin, you have a
Thank you,
question?
Council. Mr. Chairman, if I could, I know you've all read the item that I put before you. I was supposed to be away. That's the reason why I sent the letter in. Otherwise, I would have been here. But just a couple of things to point out, that this is an increase for the, it's an adjustment, actually, for the mayor's salary. And what it is that for every full term, he will get a $10,000 salary adjustment. But he has to complete the full term. And not only that, he has to be re-elected for the next term, because if he doesn't get it, he can't serve, so he wouldn't get it, And if you figure out, how the raises work, his increase, how, what city employees get for average is 2 to 3%, somewhere in there. He will be getting for the 4 years, if he were to get them all, if we combine it all together, with 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, and 1.5 for each of the years, and then those to be given at the end of the 4-year period. And the 4-year period, it says it's for every full term completed, but we got to remember this is every full 4-year term completed. So we're starting with this term, and this will not become effective until January of 2018. So it's not something that they're going to get as soon as we pass this,
Correct.
So it's a year or so, more than a year or so away. And what it also does is it sort of it doesn't prevent, but we don't hear about that business now of the mayor getting a raise. When's the mayor going to get a raise? He's been getting a raise every year now, according to this formula, So that's the reason I put it in there. And I know that every time we get together and we hear, the mayor's going to be coming in for a raise, and we all feel, wow, we got to face the public again because, we got to do this here. But this eliminates all that, and I think it'll be a good thing for the city, a good thing for all of us, too.
Correct.
So, okay, so that's it.
All right, thank you. Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I invite up some of my friends in the audience? Mr. Demas, City Auditor, and Assistant City Clerk Sergio Canelio, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Just state your name and your position, please.
Eric Demas, CFO.
Sergio Canelio, Assistant City Clerk.
Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you guys for appearing tonight. I appreciate
Thank you.
taking time to be here tonight. Mr. Demas, in your professional opinion as our auditor, is this a smart or safe practice to basically lay out the pay raise as a whole structure instead of revisiting it from time to time? So we're basically, from what I'm understanding, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, or Assistant City Clerk, this is the mayor's pay raise for every term. And again, this isn't about any particular mayor, it's about the position. So I don't want to make this about Mayor DeMaria, because it's not, it's about the position. But is this a smart practice to lay it out in this formula, or is it smarter to look at it from time to time and to adjust his salary as accordingly throughout a tenure as mayor, in your professional opinion?
Various trains of thought on that question. What I would recommend is that any action that you take be transparent. And I think that the action that you would be proposing right now is transparent, and it's known to all. My understanding is that this would only be for a sitting mayor. So if a mayor was to be underneath this proposed amendment, if a mayor was not elected to office, as Councilor Hamlin stated, then he would not be receiving it. It would not apply to a new mayor coming in. And certainly any action that the council would take on this one particular action could always be amended or adjusted in future years.
So this is not etched in stone. So, because I have a couple of different thoughts on this topic. One is, every year or so, employees get a cost of living, 2 to 3% increase. Some years you don't get a COA, but most years you try to give everybody a cost of living increase, 2 to 3%. Again, you're not even meeting criteria what the cost of living cost of living increase with these numbers. So I'm not sure that this is such a great idea, because a cost of living savings is 2 to 3%, as everybody knows. That's what you get across the board every year. At the highest right now, you're gonna give somebody 1.8% of an increase. I'm not sure that that's really a good idea to shortchange somebody, to be honest. Our mayor, whomever it may be, currently is May Deemer, works very hard every day and has a lot of responsibility. To say that we're not gonna give him what everybody else is getting for a cost of living increase every year, I'm not sure is fair, to be truthful. You know, if his employees are getting 2 to 3%, why isn't he entitled to get 2 to 3%? So that's one of the angles that I'm going on here tonight on this piece, is that I'm not really sure that this is great, and you can touch on that if you want, Eric.
The only thing I just wanted to expand upon that is, I certainly understand your position. What I would recommend to each counselor is they have to make their own decision as to whether or not this is a good practice to follow or not. The only thing I want to just point out to you, where your comparison of city employees, is that per city charter, and which is in accordance with state law, is that if the city council elects to provide a cost of living of, say, 2 to 3% this year, for non-unions, and most of the unions it was 2%, the city council can take that action for that upcoming fiscal year. The difference between the mayor's position as well as the city councilor's position is that you need to have it done within the first 18 months of a city council term, so that it'll take effect for the next term of the city council. So there are additional restrictions by charter and state law as to the adjustment of elected official salaries. So it's not a one-on-one comparison between an elected official receiving a salary adjustment versus a traditional city employee.
And I wouldn't even really refer to it as a salary adjustment, because it's really a cost of living. It's something that he or she in the future should be wholeheartedly entitled to on doing their performance year to date. So I don't know where the $10,000 number came from. I didn't know if somebody could touch on where that number actually resonated from. I'm not sure, Councilor Hanlon, if you came up with the number of 10,000.
Pick 10,000.
You just picked 10,000 out of the.
But if I, can I?
Absolutely,
can I
I'll
say
amend the
something?
floor, absolutely.
You know,
Counselor.
we had talked a long time ago about the mayor getting a raise, just like the city employees does. And we said that would be a good idea, except for the fact that the mayor is really the one that sets what that raise is gonna be. He has to sign all the contracts, and, I mean, you might have someone doing them. I had an attorney that did them, but it came back to me that I was the one that had to grant that raise. If I was gonna get the same raise as what the city employees would be getting, I'd be thinking of getting it maybe a little bit higher. So if they wanted to get 2.5%, I might say 3, because then I know I'm gonna get the 3%. And actually, they said it was a conflict of interest, because I'd be setting my own raise if that was the law. You know, that's what we would do. And so they said that wasn't a very good thing. The other thing, too, about mayor's raises is that, I know you all remember John McCarthy. John McCarthy got a raise in salary. There hadn't been one for a long, long time. And he got $85,000 a year. And the next mayor also received $85,000 a year. And the next mayor also received $85,000 a year. And the next mayor started with $85,000 a year, and that's DeMaria. And he's the first one that had a raise since John McCarthy. So, you know, it's why do we want to do it, and why should we get rid of it? Because it's kind of unfair for the mayor to be working all this time and not getting anything. So if it was the same mayor all that time, I mean, it would have gone that long that no one would have got a raise in salary. So that's why this just eliminates everything, and, you know, it gives it sort of a fair option. And the other thing, too, is that, you know, 1.8% of the mayor's salary is a lot larger than 3% of whoever is getting, what department head is getting a salary, you know? You won't see that in 4 years, no matter what the percentage is, that any city employee will be receiving a $10,000 raise in a 4-year term, you know?
Correct.
So this comes out to $2,500 a year. And that's why it's different, because what I did is I figured out what the current mayor is making, and then said, you know, what percent is $2,500 of what he's making? It's 1.8%. But then you have to add the $2,500 to the salary to figure out what it would be for the next year. That's why it keeps going down, because the percent, that 2,500 keeps getting less and less and less each year. So if we stay at this here, and then you can just sort of imagine if the current mayor is around for another 4-year term, then he'll be getting 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, and 1.1, somewhere in that area. And I think then sometime we'll say, well, maybe we should change that, because he's now gonna be getting less than 1% raise, so. But it's, at least it's something, it's a package that we can use, and something that the council, whatever the council wants to do in the end, they can change it whatever way they want. I thought this was just the fairest way to do it. you know,
Correct.
So.
Mr.
Councilman McLaughlin?
Mr. Chairman, through you to my colleague, Mr. Hanlon. Can you repeat what you just stated? I'm sorry, I don't think I understood that correctly. So, for the first 4 years, we'll be at 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, 1.5. The 5th year, which would be the first year in his second or her second term, they would go down to 1.4, 1.3, 1.2.
No, they don't get another raise.
What is it?
It doesn't take effect. Raise doesn't take effect until he's reelected.
Right.
So,
It wouldn't go, I'm just saying, if the next 4 years were to come along.
Yep.
And he would get a raise at that time, if we went back in time to figure out how much it would be, then he'd be getting 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, 1.1% of the now current salary. So it's not that he's going to get something on the 5th year, because he doesn't get a raise on the 5th year, he gets something on the 8th year.
Correct.
So it's every 4 years, so it's a completion every 4-year term that he would get an increase, not something every year. And in January of 2018, this would become effective. He wouldn't get another raise until January of 2022.
And then 4 years after that, if he's still in office.
and again, I don't want to make this about Mayor DeMaria, because it's not. It's about the position, and, you know, the critics at home that are going to say, we supported giving the mayor a pay raise. That's not true, and I don't want that to go out in the city of Everett that we're supporting a pay raise for the mayor. We're doing what's right for the position, and we're talking about the position, not about the individual. So I want to make sure that that's clear at home too, that, because I know that we're going to all hear about it after we leave these chambers tonight, that we supported the mayor's pay raise and yada, yada. We're about doing what's right for the position, not about an individual. I'll amend the floor to my colleagues if anybody has some more questions, but I do have a few other questions. If you want me to continue, Mr. Chairman, it's up to you.
I have one from the chair, unless you want to. Let's say gets reelected in 2018. He's there for his 4-year term. He gets a $10,000 increase. He does not get elected after his 4-year term. Someone else is in the office. The salary goes back to where, correct me now if I'm wrong, it goes back to where it was 4 years before the mayor was in there, correct? It will go back to the salary of, I'm just going for the next 5 years, it will go back to the salary of 2018.
No, it wouldn't, because their salary at that time would be what it would be after the 4 years are done, you know? That's not a person's salary, remember, that's the mayor's salary.
Right, so if it was 138 as 2018,
Yeah, so in 2018, what's the salary?
it'd be
109.
138.
109.
109?
Right now, it's 109.
109, so if this was to become effective in 2018, you'd be making 119.
Correct.
Well, he wouldn't get that until,
Then, that new mayor would start at 119. So in order for the new mayor to get a raise, he'd have to wait for another 4 years. So it's not designed for 1 year, it's designed for
the position, right. So my question, say he's there for 8 years, right? There's 20,000 tacked on to his start salary.
only if you have another election come along.
Yes, there'll be 2 terms. He'll have 2 terms. After the 2 terms, he loses the race. All right? If he's out of office. Yes, he'll be out of office. Now, whoever won, does he start at the 20,000 tacked onto the first salary, or does it go back to where it started?
Because he was out of office. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He's out of office.
What I can hear is, he'll be making 138 at 2018. That's without the increase. After 4 years, he'll get the $10,000 raise. So he'll be at 148,
If he's reelected,
if he's reelected.
yes.
After the 4 years, he went from 138, and he gets the $10,000 increase, so he's at
the one-
148.
Yes.
After the 4-year term, he gets the check for 10,000. If he loses the next election, the next mayor, does he start at 148, or does he go back to 138?
Are you talking about a one election? Are you saying that if?
Yes,
if the mayor-
2018,
In 2018.
He
The
wins.
mayor's salary is 148.
138,
Well, with the raise, well, I'm
No.
sorry, 138, right.
without the raise,
If he's elected, it goes to 148
after 4 years.
after the 4 years.
After the 4 years, he loses,
Yeah.
he loses the next election.
I said.
Doesn't get another increase.
But whoever gets in there,
Is that
does he start?
148?
148.
148. Because that's the mayor's salary, 148.
So
Okay.
if he's at 138, and then if the city council, at their desire, passes this, this order, after 4 years, if he was reelected, it would go to 148. Then he serves another 4 years. If the mayor fails to be reelected, then that new mayor would come in at the 148, not the 158.
Right.
Because you have to be reelected and serve your next term.
Correct, okay.
The current mayor, the next mayor would come in at what number, Mr. Hughes?
The way it's written at 148.
Okay. So, not to steal the floor from my chairman,
Go ahead, Counselor.
but Mayor Di,
I think it's,
Always goes back to this, because that's the base salary. When he gets the 10 is only because they served the 4 years, that's how he wrote it. You know what I mean?
I do. Let me just see this
Counselor,
for a
I think
second.
it goes back,
That's why he put the word base in there.
it goes back to
That way it's
the 138.
not the mayor's salary. That's
Mr.
what
Davis,
I want, that's
so-
what I was trying to.
To the chair.
my, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
Counselor Hanlon made the statement a few minutes ago that the salary would be adjusted for the position. So in the scenario we were just talking, if the salary's at 138, served 4 years, was reelected, and then he would receive the $10,000 increase.
Correct.
What the Assistant City Clerk just shared with me, and I have not seen, is the way that it was written, is that the base salary of the mayor shall be $138,000 effective July 1st of 2013. The annual salary of any individual serving in the office of mayor shall be increased by $10,000 after each completed term as mayor. So the way that this is written here by the city clerk, the increase would go per the individual.
That's why I was questioning that.
Per the individual. So
Correct.
if the city council passes this order, the mayor's salary would be the 138, serve the 4 years, receive a $10,000 increase. That next term, he serves this term, is not elected. The way the city clerk reads this, it would revert back to the base salary of 138, the way this is written.
Correct, for the new position of a new person being mayor.
Correct.
He'd go back to 138.
Correct, that, if I may, from the.
Sure.
That's the way it was written. The administration and the clerk's office have come up with something together a little bit. Clerk Matarazzo gave me this before he left, and I worked with him today on it, and it states that the base salary, if you read the order that it's before you, it says the base salary of the position, for the position of mayor shall be $138,000, effective January 1st. And furthermore, the annual salary of any individual serving in the office of mayor shall be increased by $10,000 after each completed term as mayor, as defined as Article 3, Section 1B of the city charter, which means a 4-year term. That's why you have that, Article 3, Section 1B. That states that it's a 4-year term for mayor. Once completed of a 4-year term, 10,000 comes, but once 4 more years go, he doesn't run again or whatever, it reverts back to the base
Base salary.
salary of 138. You have that option of always adjusting it. but
Correct.
As
We have
you
control
heard,
over the
you have
salary.
control of it, and you've heard how the reason the 10,000 was presented this way is because you've seen historically, 1996 was the last mayoral salary increase until the new charter passed, and in 2014, we served the 4-year mayor term, is when it increased again. So it was 18 years. So it kind of cuts that out and gives something to the office of the mayor, because it seems to be an issue with giving salary increases, and it's always a touchy subject, and that's why you saw that presented.
All right, thank you for clearing that up.
Well, Mr. Chairman, that's was not the intention of the way it should have been written. You know, I mean, I wrote that, and now I have.
And
I
again,
have
that was
to
from
go
the clerk's
reread that,
office,
'cause
so
I wanna
yes.
see my own writings, because, you know, another thing too is that, you know, I did a study, and who else does it? She does a study a lot too. I'm sorry, Councilor DeRosa DeFlorio. If you look at our mayor's salary, compared to the mayor's salary of the current area, we're the lowest on the barrel. We're really the bottom of the barrel. And this increase will not raise them up much more than that, but at least it will give them an increase, you know. And now you're saying that the mayor's gonna serve, he gets up to 148,000, and he has another term in, he doesn't make the next election, you're saying it goes back to 138,000? Not fair for a new guy coming in to go back to the bottom of the barrel again.
And you're the legislative branch, you can amend it as you like. I'm just showing you what's before us. I just wanted to explain that. You know that. You can amend that and change the word base salary if you want. That's your decision as the city council. I'm just showing you what was presented by the city clerk to me.
Well,
Some
it
of
would
that
be
can
my
be changed
intention
now or
to do
later.
exactly that, you know.
And that's
to
fine,
do exactly that.
Mr.
Thank
Counselor.
you for pointing it out.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure you knew what it stated
It's better
before
to know
us.
it now than it
Yes,
is
then
to have
later and get
done
it.
find
That's
out
why I
4
wanted
years
to tell
from
you.
now. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council McLaughlin?
Mr. Chairman, I couldn't agree more with Councilor Hanlon, because hypothetically, and I don't want to bring up Mayor DeMarie because it's not about him again, but he's very popular in the city, as we all know. He's going to be around for quite a bit of time. 2018, he gets reelected, he gets a $10,000 pay raise. 2022, he gets 10,000. 2026, he gets 10,000. He loses, or he leaves. He doesn't lose, he leaves. He says, I had enough, I've done 20 years, I'm out. We're gonna send that position back to 138,000. It would be so grossly underpaid that nobody would take the job. It would be insane. In 20 years, 15 years from now, nobody's gonna take the job at 138,000, where it is today underpaid. Imagine what it will be like in 15 years from now, how underpaid it would be. So that formula isn't working, to be honest, because not one of the 4 of us sitting in this chambers right now, or anybody, would take that job at 138,000 in 15 years from now, when it is underpaid today, never mind then. So we need to change that language. I don't know if we can change that language later on down the road, or if that language needs to be changed before we pass this, but
Yeah,
I-
you have to do it before ordainment or enrollment. When you first present it is when you want to do it, because when it goes for ordainment on the second vote, it has to be put into the newspapers, and you have to have it. You can't change the intent
Right.
once it's presented for ordainment.
Right.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have that. I have another copy.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, another perfect scenario my learned counsel just came up with, you know, and that is that if that were the situation that had happened in 2026, you have someone else run for mayor, and there would be people looking to run for that, even though it went to 138,000. You can imagine what the first thing on the calendar would be, and what the council would be going through. Now we have a new mayor, and you've got to get how much, when, who's going to do it, you know, and that's what I say. That's why this eliminates all of that business, you know. The raises are there. If somebody wants to change the amount, well, they can change the amount, you know, but they don't have to worry about anything else, so.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Council, like you're saying, if we did that 138 all those years from now, they're gonna say, it's not a pay increase, but we're going 138 up to 180 of an increase, even though the old mayor was making that money anyways.
Correct.
So if we change this we have to change this by, well, as council, we can leave it as it is and change it anytime you want, correct? The base
Yes.
on the
Any-
base
yes,
salary
yes.
only.
Not, no.
Is there a time limit on
Till
this?
June of next year, so.
I would I would prefer if you asked that of the city clerk or the city solicitor. I don't believe that there is, but I don't want to mislead you in case there's something that I'm missing.
So if the vote is made next meeting of the $10,000 passes, we could always go back and change the base salary also. I prefer.
You have to do it in the first 18 months of a city council legislative session.
On the
So
base
that means
salary?
by June of next year.
Okay.
Anytime after that, it is considered you're giving yourselves a raise or giving the current legislative branch. Correct, of the city council is how the charter reads. It says the city
No, for the
council.
mayor as well.
The city council sets the salary, so it's the city council's legislative year. So 18 months of the legislative branch, the city council. That's how the charter read, that's how the clerk and I read that today, so. Yeah, we'll be in the office.
Council McLaughlin?
Couple of last questions I'm gonna follow up with. Mr. Demus, can the mayor get this retroactive for this term that he's currently in now? So from 2014 to 2018, is he entitled to get the $10,000 for retroactive?
I believe this takes effect as of January 1st, 2018, so it would not be retroactive.
Okay, so he can't
That-
get it for the term that he's in today?
Correct, but you're posing a legal question. I would refer you to the city solicitor on that.
Okay, that's fine. And maybe because I'm not clear, but I'm just gonna ask this one last time, and I apologize for repeating it. The structure would be the 4 years would be the 1.8 through 1.5. That's the first $10,000 payment or raise. What happens on the first year of the next term? It goes back to the 1.8? So it's just a recycling, recycling,
You know. Yeah, okay.
No, actually, it's lower, because, what we're doing is we're saying, 2,000, and just my own words, we're saying, what is $2,500 of $138,000? It's 1.8%. So if he were to get a $2,000 increase, his salary would be $245, I think, $140,500. So what is 2,500 of that amount? That's 1.7%. So then you add that to the salary, and then you say, what's $2,500 of the next amount? And it would be 1.6, 1.5. So now his salary is up to
148.
So if we're gonna stay with the $10,000, which I hope that would be for a while, then you would say, all right, if he was getting it, because he's not getting this, he doesn't get this year by year. If he was going to get it in a year's time, what percentage is $2,500 of $148,000, and that winds up being 1.4%. So it'll keep going down, because his base salary keeps going higher, but the 2,500, imaginary 2,500 per year stays the same, it doesn't go up. So that's what it would be.
so then within 8 years of this structure, you'd be giving the mayor 1% increase in his.
In his last year, it would be a 1.1% increase of the 8th year.
Of 8 years,
Yeah.
it's 1.1%. What happens in the 9th year?
0.9. It keeps going down.
As the base
Until-
pay rises and the $10,000 increase over a 4-year term remains the same, that $10,000 as a percentage is less as compared to the base pay. So as Councilor Hanlon was stating, if this passes, the first year, nothing would take effect until after the 4 years and he or she was elected until the next term. But how it currently reads, if this is passed, the first year would be 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, 1.5. If you go through another term is served in another election cycle, and that mayor is reelected, whoever is in that position, then they would receive an additional $10,000 over the course. So that $10,000 broken out over each 4 years, $2,500. That $2,500 as a percentage of the base is going to be less in the second term, the third term, and the fourth term than it is going to be in the first term. So your percentage increase is going to be reduced because your base salary is going to be going up, and the increase as a dollar amount is going to be remaining constant.
So in order to do something about that, maybe someone in 8 years from now say, gee, maybe we should raise that 10,000 to 15,000. That would be the
Correct.
way that you get that amount
That's right.
increased, the percentage increased.
If we did it another way, if we gave him a 2% every year,
You
he would,
can't.
he would make more than $10,000
Yeah, but
per 4 years.
Yeah.
So by doing the $10,000, in 8 years, he's actually getting a less of a pay increase
Right.
Yeah.
every 4 years.
But you can't give them the same as the employees get,
Correct.
because it's really, he sets that salary.
Correct.
And he'd be setting his own, so that's a
Right.
conflict.
And we have control down the road to do whatever we want.
Yes, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, on the motion.
Thank you.
This position is underpaid today, as we all know, for the surrounding communities. And I don't think that anybody could argue at that point, that we in the city of Everett right now, over the next 5 years, are going to increase workload for everyone, not just elected officials. Every position is going to increase. We have so much development that's going to happen in the city. We have so much that's going to boom. Everett is going to transform in the next 5 years like we've never seen before. Position today is underpaid. With this structure, you're basically you're basically continuing to keep it underpaid. So at no point does the position of mayor qualify or equal his colleagues in surrounding communities. And no disrespect to my friend, Assistant City Clerk, but we just gave out some really hefty pay raises to bring people's salaries up to surrounding communities so that they could equal what their colleagues were making in surrounding communities. With this salary structure, we're not even helping bring the position to what our surrounding communities are making. Why is our mayor's position being neglected? Why are we not doing the right thing by the position? It's not about the person. And again, I don't want to hear anybody tell me that I support or didn't support Mayor DeBurria, because I supported wholeheartedly for the position. But we're starving the position. Even with this structure, we're still not doing the right thing by the position. When are we going to, as a city, allow our mayor's position to come to terms with the surrounding communities, as we just did in this budget that we passed last week with CERN's positions that we brought up to their surrounding colleagues in other communities? We did not. Mr. Clerk, okay, Mr. Clerk, I'd love you to turn. I didn't say that we didn't increase it. I said that it's still grossly underpaid for our surrounding communities. When you look at May, Curtoni, and Somerville, who has probably the next biggest amount of development going in of his city, it's still grossly underpaid. With this pay structure, it doesn't help bring the position to equal his peers in surrounding communities. I'm not sure that I can support this, in all due respect.
Councilor Hanlon?
Mr. Chairman, it's an easy fix. Change the 10,000 to 20,000.
Okay.
You know, that would be an easy fix. Now, the mayor would be getting 3.6%, 3.4%, as it goes down, you know. And that's not a conflict, because we're setting the salary, not the mayor.
I'm going to make a motion right now that we strike out $10,000 and we amend it by putting $20,000 into the spot and call for favorable action.
Can I hold off for that 1 second? Councilor Matusky has a question?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, in 1981, I have no questions of these gentlemen, but I think it's good that they're here. Mayor Conley was getting, I think it was $38,000 a year. and we gave him a $10,000 pay raise, and it needed one more vote. All right? I think Mr. Burley would remember that. And, you know, I just knew on the council, and I said, well, gee, the mayor's only making $38,000? I mean, that was a long time ago, but just the same, there was still, I think, 120 employees making more than the mayor in the city at that time. Now we come out, well, one of the papers comes out with the top 100 paid employees for the city. I don't even think the mayor's on that list.
He's not.
He's not on that list, no. I was gonna say he was like number 99, but, you know, so I go back on this issue. I think that we have a strong mayor system in city government here. I mean, I take the job for $109,000 a year myself, but that would be fine with me. But the truth of the matter is, you know, the mayor has a direction that the city is moving forward. We just got listed the most culturally diverse city in Massachusetts, which is very, very interesting, you know, and it says something about our community. I mean, that was a shock to me, but I can see it, you know, and the mayor has led the fight to get the casino here. I mean, that is, nobody thought it would be done, and it rolled along, and he's the one that is going to change the complexion of this community. And we have hotels coming in. I just read the paper today. The old Harley Davidson's going to be a little village. And I think we're going to do better than Somerville, to be honest with you, under the direction of the people that the mayor has. Not only is he doing a good job, it's the people that work in this building, the new city engineer, it's the community development director, it's so many different people that he has put into place to put the city on the right path. And for that, I think that we're doing the right thing for the incentive. I think if you do a good job, you know, you should get paid. Now, you know, in Revere, they have a system in the city council, a longevity system, and paying and so forth. But we're not talking about the city council. But if you want to go back, and I think John Hanlon remembers, and I know Mr. Burley does, I think I got $72 a month being a councilman, you know, and I had the check election night on my kitchen cabinet, and I had some friends over, you know, election night. And they looked at, this is what we work so hard for, but it's not about the money, we all know that. It's about doing the right thing if you're into it in your community. But no, I believe the mayor should be paid fairly, and you know, these other communities, we're going to be ahead of Somerville is the way I look at it. I don't know what he gets paid, but he stopped $55 million a month from coming into this community and the state. So maybe he should get a pay decrease. But I'm in favor of the amendment that Councilman McLaughlin, and I received John Hanlon, former Mayor Hanlon's letter in my mailbox the other day, and I thoroughly read that. It was pretty extensive information. And I'm going to vote in favor of it. And I'm going to speak in favor of it at the council meeting. So that's my feelings on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion of Councilman McLaughlin.
I just have one question, and not to complicate things. On the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
To Mr. Demas, could we do for 2018 a certain number, and 4 years later bump it down to, so instead of, right now we're saying 10,000 for every 4 years. Could we say for the first 4 years we're going to do 20,000, as I said, and then 4 years later we'll cut it down to the 20, back down to the 25. It at least gets the mayor's salary today in the next 4 years somewhat equal to his peers. And then in 4 years from now, we have a long time to be able to decide what we want to do with this ordinance. Excuse me. Is that something that could be voted on tonight in that format, or no? It has to be a standard number across.
For right now, what you would have to be voting on is the increase for the next term. You certainly would be able to, over the course of the next 4 years, if you're looking at the next term, you would have more than adequate time to make any additional adjustments to the action that you're taking today.
Call for the question.
Okay, what do we,
Absolutely. I'm going to amend this piece by striking out $10,000 and put it in its place $20,000.
second the motion? All in favor?
Roll call
Roll
vote.
call vote.
Council Colson,
Yes.
Council Ham,
Yes?
Council McLaughlin,
Yes.
and Council Matusky.
Yes.
So on the amended item, call for favorable action on the item as a whole.
Mr. Chairman, on the motion,
Councilor
I'd rather
Ham?
we lay this on the table until our next meeting because of the fact that I want to go over with the city clerk why he worded the ordinance in that particular manner.
Okay.
I don't want to see it to revert it back to what the original salary was. I want to see it remained at whatever the increase was going to be whenever it gets increased. So we have plenty of time on this.
Just on that motion, you know, rather than delay, we've talked about this, we're in agreement pretty much, right? Can't we refer this out and ask Mr. Matarazzo to just fill you in before the meeting?
Can-
So that you're clear on exactly what you
Count-
Yeah,
want?
we could do that.
Councilors, may I speak just for one moment? This was presented to you tonight, the way Clerk Matarazzo and the administration came up with, the way the clerk finished writing this out today. This amendment hasn't been done. This is what he was presenting to you. You wrote an ordinance already. You already wrote out, the salary of the mayor shall be adjusted by X amount of dollars. That is what is on the table this evening. So what he did was go ahead and write what the finished product should be.
Oh, so
You
it's
can
right here.
pass this, present it to your board, they pass it, enrolled, it comes back out and you can amend it. At that point, that's where we have to put the whereases, the preamble in any way, where we clean it up and then present it back to you.
We can't amend anything that's been enrolled.
You're gonna do it before enrollment.
What?
You haven't enrolled it yet.
Oh, I thought you said.
So
we
when,
enroll it.
on enrollment evening, you're going to
Oh, okay.
amend it as you see fit. You need to add a preamble and things of that nature before it goes into ordainment. You know that, Mr. Clerk. So that's what I think you can do. If you don't want to lay it on the table, there's no reason why you can't present it for the next council meeting, because we haven't changed anything at the moment. What you wrote is what's there.
Mr. Demus, go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add is the intentions, the intent of what you're trying to do is very easy to the language that the city clerk has put forth. You actually wouldn't even be adding any language. All you would have to do is to strike a few words in the first sentence and then completely reduce the second sentence. So it is a very quick, simple, easy amendment.
That's why I thought maybe if you wanted to pass it.
Second the motion.
Okay. Second.
Thank you.
Now, the motion on the floor is
Fabled.
favorable action.
Refer to the meeting of the 27th.
Said they can send it out.
27th
Is
of,
it the 27th?
27?
27th.
27, correct?
Just, yeah, all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Make a motion, I can't make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.